Good evening and welcome to IDAGIO Live and welcome to the office of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra directly from the Vienna Musikverein. My name is Daniel Ottensamer. I'm one of the principal clarinets in this orchestra, and I'm very happy to start today with a new series where I meet some of my colleagues weekly and talk with them a little bit of their life, about the life with music, also about their life in this orchestra, and maybe get them to share some personal information as well. I'm very glad to begin today with this first episode with a very shining personality of our orchestra. He is our chairman, and he is also a member of the first violin section in the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, Daniel Froschauer. Thanks so much for joining me today. The first question, very simple and most important, how are you? How have you been in the last weeks as person, but also in your function as chairman?
Thank you for interesting questions, because when you think an orchestra is not working, not playing, we cannot perform at this moment, that everything would be quiet. But actually, as I told you before, that I'm on the telephone about 3 hours every day, because we need to have a vision, an artistic vision. We need to see an end of the tunnel, and that's things that are not easy right now because of the restrictions. I think we are lucky to be in Austria because the numbers are going down, and I'm sure it's very difficult to shut a country down, but I think it's equally difficult, if not more difficult, to bring it back up to normal life. And our situation, of course, with our audience usually is people not so young, our ABO audience, and so we're working very hard to bring things back to normal, or at least trying to work on a vision. I was really happy to see you, because we haven't seen each other, I don't know, in a long time now. So it's kind of a...
I have to say, I really miss the orchestra a lot. Not only making music, of course, making music as well, but also talking and you know, the day, being together every day with my colleagues, and that's something that's really missing.
And you say with this kind of comment, I feel that our orchestra, the Vienna Philharmonic, is not just an orchestra who performs together, but we function as a family. And this in many ways is a beautiful feeling to have. And that's why when I see colleagues I haven't seen in a long time, like Daniel, then I'm happy. Or we had a project here, we got an antibody test in this office 2 days ago, and again there I was happy to see people I haven't seen in a while, and everybody's like, how are you? Are you practicing? You know,
so that's the biggest question always.
That's the biggest question. I am practicing.
Me too, a little bit sometimes. So you have been now chairman already for a while. 3 years. 3 years. Wow, it's already 3 years. So how I'm very curious. How was the time for you? How did you deal with the challenges in this job, and also did you even have time to enjoy it a little bit, to be chairman?
It's also a very good question. It's you cannot prepare for something like that. You have to do learning by doing.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Because to prepare for this incredible, first of all, you had to get into a shape where you can function from 8 in the morning until after opera. Because at 8 in the morning you might get a phone call from Japan, and very late in the evening you have to call America. So and you have to be able to function speaking, and then pick up your instrument, play, put it away, and then listen to people. What's the most important thing is listening to people, learning to listen, and trying to not be judgmental and say, oh, it's not important, because whatever a member says to you or to me is important, otherwise they wouldn't say it to you. And so it's took about a good year, a year and a half, to understand the structures, also how do things work. But I must say, in the last, although the times are very difficult right now, it's a challenge, and I feel very strong that we are a family, and I feel when we give information, it's so positive. Some members call up and they say, thank you for giving us the information. Great that we can go through this together, you know, not people feel in the orchestra we are in it together and we will come out strong.
That's a good feeling. When you describe your job actually as a violinist, you know, being chairman, I'm sure some of the music enthusiasts or listeners, they wonder what's the benefit or what's the great thing if our musicians are in these positions like chairman and the CEO. Our Michael Bladerer is our double bass player. He is the CEO of the Vienna Philharmonic. Maybe you can shortly describe what's the big plus of this.
Let me go a little bit further. At the Vienna State Opera, we are employed. And at members of the Vienna Philharmonic, it's identical members, we are self-employed. And this is our character. We go and play because we want to be the best. We want to do a fantastic job, not just for us, for the audience, but also for the music, for the situation. Excel, like a sports, like a team that goes to the Olympics. So this is our artistic attitude. I feel often when I just joined a group of 9 other orchestra, the directors of orchestras in Austria, and it's because of challenging times, and we have an exchange. But to me, it's incredible because I just hear the manager's point of view, and they have ideas like, oh yeah, we build capsules around themselves, plexiglass, you can see each other, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, but you know, I'm a musician. This is not possible. You know, it's not about music. And you bring the musician's point of view into every decision making in our orchestra. Everybody makes decisions, and Daniel, I assure you, any member in our orchestra comes to me and says, you know, I really like this conductor, I really like this singer. We discuss it. We said that person said this. How can we?
That's the greatest benefit. That all decisions are made with the musical background, and we always decide everything for the best music we can make. I think that's thanks for explaining, because I'm sure that a lot of people are very curious about this system we have, you know, and that's I think a very interesting point in our orchestra. I think it's unique in the world.
It's unique, but it also has unique problems. For example, if I may say so, at the summer night concert in Schönbrunn, before the concert starts, our Vorstand usually goes out, and you go out and you see 100,000 people, and you say to these people, would like to welcome you to the beautiful Baroque garden of the Schloss Schönbrunn. But up until this moment, when you're backstage, my colleagues come to me, Daniel, this is it, and Daniel, Andris, and Daniel, this is not right. And you just kind of stand there and you're just like,
talk to me, people.
You walk out there and you're like, oh
my God. This is something very challenging. I'm sure. I don't know if I could do this, just to go out and talk about for million people, but also hear the orchestra members who want you know, different things from you. Right. I think it's very challenging. But a very interesting point, I think, is that you are also able, with Michael Bladerer and with all the members, as you mentioned, together to decide, because we don't have a chief conductor, so we can decide which conductor or which conductors are coming to play concert with us. What do you think, or how important is it for us to invite conductors who really understand the identity of Vienna Philharmonic and who also demand the traditional sound that we have? I'm thinking, especially just to explain to you why I'm asking this, my first experience I had in this orchestra was with Riccardo Muti, and in the rehearsal, he was so much demanding the sound he knew from the Vienna Philharmonic. So he was really forcing us to get this sound, you know, and he said, this is not Vienna Philharmonic, try differently. And I think it was so positive, and it was amazing for me, this experience.
You're just talking about the DNA of the Vienna Philharmonic, our sound, you know? And that's something that's very special in our orchestra, through a special way of playing. We are an opera orchestra. We try to listen to each other all the time. And I think the important thing is to find a good balance between conductors who have been with us long term. When you talk about Riccardo Muti, he will be with us next year for 50 years. We have a Subin Mehta who has been with our orchestra for, I think, record 62.
It's incredible numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are incredible. This is one thing. And as you say, we are a very young orchestra right now, and we need conductors who come and demand what they have heard when they were young people from our orchestra, and remind us. And with Karumotis, often it's incredible to see at the concert the type of sound he gets. He demands it. But we also must not forget the young conductors, because you know the generation keeps getting older. But we need to look now, and there are some very promising young conductors, male and female conductors, who we are looking at, and we are waiting for the right situation that's good for them and for us to have a positive experience together.
That's maybe a good mixture we have. Another question which is really also personally very interests me is, because our orchestra is, of course, from the state opera, we learn to listen a lot, not only to the musicians, not only watch the conductors, but listen a lot to the singers. So my question to you as a first violinist, because I'm a clarinettist, how much do you personally react, or how important is it for you to listen to the wind soloists in general? We are all following, of course, the concertmaster, but do you in the first violin section also hear the different soloists? Or let me rephrase the question, do I have to play louder for you maybe, or is it loud enough?
No, Daniel, I think that the one thing that sets you and your colleagues apart is the soft tones, when you get softer and softer, and you really force and you demand the string players to go down, we can say Tosca, you know, or Soli, where I think play loud is one thing, but to play soft and make it more interesting, or to breathe one time and everybody, you lead everybody in it. I think that's
the most beautiful moments, I think, when you really see or can hear that everybody listens to you. That's amazing. That this atmosphere, I think, it's so rare, and in this orchestra you have it almost every day. So that's really special.
Funny, but what's funny for me sometimes to experience at the opera, when we have I don't know, a situation where a singer falls behind or gets ahead, and the orchestra goes with the singer, but the conductor somehow tries to control the situation.
Yeah, I know. That's really, really weird, actually. but it's so great to see how the orchestra has their ears open, and they just listen what is happening, and they find somehow the mixture between listening to the singer and also following somehow the conductor. It's really funny, I know. So no, thanks a lot for sharing these information. I have one last question, which is maybe a little unusual, but as you are always very well dressed, you know, and from Daniel to Daniel, I would like to ask you, and maybe it's also interesting for some of our listeners, who is your tailor? Where do you get your suits from? Is this a mystery you can reveal a little bit?
Actually, I get my influences from all over the world. This is actually a jacket that I bought off the rack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you don't have a specialized tailor?
No, because things tend to look good on me.
That's what I thought. You can wear everything, right?
Well, like the other Daniel, no?
Well, I don't know. No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing this. We revealed a little secret now. Daniel looks good with everything.
Yeah, but Daniel as well.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to talk to you. Thanks a lot for joining me. I also want to thank, of course, all the listeners for being tuned here. And I really hope that I see you next week again, if we have another episode of this series where I meet another colleague of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, everything will take place on IDAGIO Live. That's where classical music happens.